Ryan shares some wisdom into some past deals that the vendors or owners originally said no to, but how weeks, months, or even the following year later, they have come back and not only said yes, but have also offered better terms. This is simply down to the people's circumstances changing, and right now, as we enter into a recession, many old deals that said no are returning and now saying yes. When you have patience and leave the door open, all of the hard work can pay off, even when you incorrectly thought the deal was dead. Patience is the answer, my friend. Don't put yourself out of business because of your own insecurities in your head and overthinking the reason somebody would say no to you at the time, because you may find later they say yes. Only if you do this one thing Ryan shares in this episode. Problems, challenges and opportunities on Thursday. Every Thursday, Ryan takes you deep inside his business, sharing his problems, walks you through his challenges, talks about the opportunities that you only find once you've broken through the wall. That's the secret that every entrepreneur discovers, because the biggest problem in your business today usually becomes your greatest opportunity and asset tomorrow.
What I really find interesting about everything that's happening right now in the market, what I find that's interesting is the fact that, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing that I'm sharing now. The fact that some deals that we looked at, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago, which we spent all the time valuing them, meeting the owners or meeting the landlords, meeting the investors, meeting the sellers, whoever they were, whatever position they were in. What we found is, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months ago, many of or all of those deals that I'm talking about, which were a maybe, or the deals which were a straight no, so rejected for whatever reason. What I've found is, or what you guys will also find is right now, obviously during the pandemic, we're in a completely different market. And many of the deals that I just completely wrote off, a long time ago, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months ago, just completely wrote them off thinking, the wheels have come off the negotiations, or the wheels have fallen off of the relationship nurturing, or they've even gone away and found another buyer or customer or tenant or investor or company to work with, and that door is, completely closed right now. What I found is many of those people, which was a straight no then, have now come back, have rekindled negotiations, and some of them have even gone through or gone back on them saying no, and now they've done a complete U-turn to a yes, they will do the deal. And they'll actually do the deal not only on the terms which were offered, all of that time ago, whether it was 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, they're actually entering into new terms, which is a bit more favourable to me, to my company right now. So what I've learned is you should never really rule out the deals that you didn't do. You should never really rule out the relationships which you put in place some time ago. You should never really rule out, the people that said no at the time. Because, in hindsight, you never actually know what is around the corner. You really never know what is around the corner. I mean, I've sat there sometimes with, maybe many of us have done this, but a deal that you've put a lot of work in, a lot of time into, a lot of effort into. It was one particular deal, actually, I'm thinking of, that comes to mind, a recent one, which was a hotel, a converted hotel converted, Now, this comes to mind in this deal because I put a lot of time in, a lot of work in, a lot of effort in. It literally cost me a lot of time and cost me a lot of emotions. The negotiations went on for weeks, for months, from 1 year into another year. In fact, these negotiations went on. And it started off as a no, and then it turned to a maybe, and then it went to a yes, and then it went to, but yes, but you can't have the whole thing. And then it was up and down and on and off and in and out. And in the end, it was like, finished, and then they came back, and then it was like yes, it went on and on from 1 year to another year. And I remember there was a turning point where it could have gone very bad, because it got to the point that I could have said something wrong or said something negative, or said something from an emotional place, not logical, not playing the game of business, not playing the game of being an entrepreneur, not going through those motions. I could have said something, I was ready to say something, which would have just completely killed the deal and probably killed any chance of rekindling that deal in the future. Maybe me getting too emotional, too attached, too presumptuous, thinking it's my deal. I've invested time, I've invested energy, I've invested money. How could they do this to me? Do they know who I am? Maybe overreacting and a bit of narcissism, and that could have ruined the deal for me. I remember driving one day. I was actually at the top of the racecourse in Brighton, going over the hill, when I had those thoughts of, well, fuck them if they're not going to agree to this. And, I've done everything they've asked for and more, and I've moved the goalposts and I've done this. I mean, who do they think they are asking for these things? No, fuck them. I'm going to ring them and I'm going to tell them that they're out of order, or they're this, or they're that, or they should have done this, or this is an amazing deal, this is an amazing offer, just look at it. How could you not accept it? How could you be looking for other offers? How could you be unsure? Why are you not doing the whole building? Etc., etc. That's me just getting maybe too emotional, maybe too narcissistic, maybe too presumptuous, maybe too, I don't know, maybe just me being me, where it went on and on and on and got to the stage where I thought, this is my deal, we've done the deal, even when the deal hadn't been done, okay? So maybe I just overreacted a bit, but I do remember exactly where I was driving, when I had those exact thoughts that could have ruined the deal. Anyway, as we go forward, many months later, into a new year later, that deal ended up, everybody entered into the deal. That deal is now up and running successfully. As it happens, in the last few weeks, that one deal has turned into another deal, another property with the exact same developer. So now we're on our second deal with the same developer.
If you're already shortletting on Booking.com or Airbnb and you're not generating $8,200 for your 3 beds, $6,200 for your 2 beds, or even $4,100 for your 1 beds each month, then oh my goodness, you're losing money every single month. Now, I created an ebook to show you exactly how we hit those numbers consistently in my business, and I want to give you a free copy so I can show you exactly how you can do the same. Just go to www.theyrentanyhome.com/free book and tell me where to send your copy. Does that make sense?
Now, if I would have said the wrong thing at that time, if I would have got too upset at that time, if I would have just told them my thoughts and not held my tongue, we wouldn't have any of these deals right now. We wouldn't have the first deal. We wouldn't have the second deal. So it really does come down to, just planting those seeds and really just being patient. Because nobody ever knows what's around the corner. What might be a no back then can very easily turn into a maybe or a yes just further down the line, okay? You never know what's around the corner, so you don't want to burn those bridges, okay? Now, what I found is, taking all of that on board, what I found is that, we're still, or since the coronavirus, we're even more active than we were before. And that's part of hunger. That's part of a necessity. And that's part of being nervous about the market. And it's part of me trying to, or wanting to, or actually doing, not even trying, generating more money. We're expanding our way out of this pandemic. We're expanding through the pandemic. The best way, instead of contracting, which many of you guys think of straight away. There's so many business people, entrepreneurs, companies, investors, just human beings doing something that when something like this happens, their first thought is to contract. Do less phone calls. Do less ad spend. Do less marketing. Go to less meetings, call less people, just doing less, contracting, fire this one, fire that one, cancel this contract, just everything contracts, everything gets smaller until you find that you're so worried, you're so nervous, you're so scared, you're so fearful that everything has been cut, and even things that you need in business has been cut or has been withdrawn or has been taken away. So then you find you've just gone back to like a shell or like a core or like just a skeleton of what you once were, just as a victim of the market, just fearful. I understand how bad things are. I understand that people are worried, people are nervous. I understand that some people don't even know if they're going to be able to meet their rent or their bills or their expenses or pay for food, or travel or, their car or anything at all, their rent, their mortgage. Literally tomorrow, literally next week, literally next month, I know that this is happening right now. But the worst thing is if we just contract and do nothing. So my philosophy, my motto, right now has been to carefully expand out of this pandemic. And by expanding out of the pandemic, I mean we're now doing Facebook adverts. We're now doing YouTube adverts. 3 months ago we had no Facebook adverts. 3 months ago we had no YouTube adverts. 3 months ago, the adverts on YouTube and Facebook were probably 30, 40, 50% more. So now there's actually an opportunity in it, and because of so many people are doing less, they're contracting, not expanding, because they're nervous and fearful, which is understandable. Because of that, there's less people advertising on those platforms, which means more people see your advert or see our advert, more eyeballs, more interest, more exposure, all for less money. All for less money. Right now, the ad spend is probably 30, even 40% less than what it was 3, 6, 9 months ago. Just because there's people leaving the market, contracting. We've even got landlords, we've even got investors that we're calling now, which again they're more reluctant to say yes now. So these guys which have said no before, right now we're picking the phone up, we're calling people the old school way, getting on the phone, dialing their number, ringing them up, talking to them, finding out what they need, handling their objections, and then trying to formulate a mutually beneficial deal that works for them and works for us. Now, many of these guys, many of these landlords, many of these investors, many of these letting agents would all have just said no 6 or even 12 weeks ago. Before the pandemic, they would have just said no. No, we're not interested in doing that. No, we don't, you can't run the property as a hotel. No, you can't sublet. No, we're not interested in taking that offer. It's below the advertised price. And just no. What we're finding right now is they're saying yes to more or less everything and anything that we're asking and offering. Now, that's not to take advantage. That's to still create a mutual, it's a mutual beneficial deal for both parties. It's just, now they're being more realistic, I could say. Now they're being more realistic to what's really happening, when before it was just a case of, we don't need you. We don't need you. We don't need to introduce you to our client. We don't need to work with you. We don't need you to take properties from us. We don't need anything from you. That's how it was before. I'm talking just a few months ago. And right now, we have landlords we've called before, investors we've called before, which said no, which are now saying, yeah, maybe, or let's get together, or let's do this. Here's my property. Can you take some more? Yes, I wanted $2,000 a month. I'm happy to take $1,400, $1,500 right now. The market has completely changed. There is opportunities all around us, guys, as long as you guys just look for them. As long as you look for them. There's opportunities around everywhere, as long as you guys just look for them.
Make sure you've subscribed, because tomorrow you'll get free Fridays. Every Friday, we bring some fun and excitement back into business. by giving away the unlocks you need to push you through the hurdles. Free training giveaways, free products, free mentoring, and all because it's Free Friday. So make sure you've left a review, posted questions in the Property Crash Course community, or done something great so we can salute you.
So all I can say is, as long as you know the numbers, as long as you know your own numbers of, the field that you're in, as long as you know that things have changed and things have come down considerably, dramatically, as long as you understand what those margins are, there is money to be made. There is more money to be made right now than there ever has been before. And if you can't find ways of making money right now, if you're struggling, if you can't find or see the opportunities where they are right now, if you're struggling, then I've put together a community on Facebook, okay? Now, it's called the Property Crash Course, or Property Crash Course. Now, in that community, it's just been opened up during the pandemic, and it's just inviting people into that community to ask questions, to get their questions answered. So if you're listening to this episode right now and you're thinking, well, you can't see where the money is right now in your business, or you can't see where the next opportunity is, or you can't see how to get yourself out of this, or you can't see where this is going to head or what you should do. If you've got any questions like that, or anything that I've said on this episode or in these episodes that would help you, anything that I've said at all, I just want you to head over to that. It's on Facebook. It's called Property Crash Course. It's a group. All you need to do is request to be a member of that group, and I'm literally answering all of your questions on there. There's nothing for sale. It's just me answering your questions and helping you, putting our minds together, putting our heads together, forming a mastermind in that sense, and just trying to find the angles, and happy to help anybody who may be struggling right now. Okay, so this episode turned out to be a little bit unusual. It started off as just like a diary of a CEO, and then it's turned to just reflecting on what's happening right now, and so many people that we call are having problems and faced with problems and got cash flow problems and tactic problems and strategy issues and firing staff, and they just don't know where the answers are. And the thing is, I don't know where all the answers are. I don't think everybody knows where all the answers are. But when you've been through, an economic crash of 2008, when you've been investing for 20 years, when you're, a creative and logical and lateral thinker, it's always good to have those people around you. It's always good to ask questions of those people. It's always good to get a second opinion. It's always good to, find the angles and talk to someone who's actually in the trenches doing these deals and evolving like that, and, opening new companies during the pandemic and expanding their existing companies during the pandemic and, expanding, not contracting. It's always good and useful to have those people around you. So yeah, this episode turned out to be a slightly different episode. My thoughts and prayers go out to you if you have, if you or any of your loved ones are suffering right now from the pandemic, by being ill, by being sick, by not seeing your loved ones, or even if it comes down to money. If you're struggling with money right now, my thoughts and, prayers go out to you guys. But there is a way. There is ways to make money, and I think it comes down to just having access to the right people and having access to the right information. So if you have any questions about any of these episodes, you can literally just find me there, Property Crash Course. It's on Facebook. It's a group. It's free. We can connect there. You can ask me anything you want. And I'm happy to look over some of your property deals. Happy to look over some of the deals which you might already have, which are losing money. Happy to look over some of your other deals where maybe there's money left on the table. Happy to look at restructuring some of your things with you, to help you to increase your cash flow right now. So just reach out to me on there, you guys, and I'd love to help.
He's a #1 Amazon bestseller. He's an NLP manipulator. He's a property course seller. He's a Lamborghini driving multi-millionaire property guru. Forget that same old boring I am me, narcissistic podcast format because nobody gives a fuck. This podcast is all about you. So I'm taking these few seconds to thank you for subscribing, to thank you for leaving your 5-star reviews, and thank you for sharing this show with all of your friends. My team and I will keep bringing you these episodes and answering all of your burning questions in my Facebook community group called Property Crash Course. If you can just keep telling all of your friends about this show.